Hey, and it is week 10 of the college football season. Welcome back, everyone. I am the preacher. I'm along with the Prodigy here. We're coming to you from the Diamond Vogel Studios in beautiful and chilly and fall, crisp like apple cider pumpkin carving Pewaukee, Wisconsin.
Halloween week.
All Hallows Eve coming up just in a couple of days. We are talking all things college football, as always, from a perspective, a lens, a vantage point of Michigan Wolverine fans. And coming off a victory in a rivalry game. You always want to win those. You want to keep the trophies at home. And Mr. Bunyan will remain in Ann Arbor for another 12 months.
I didn't watch much of the game. I had an event that I had to be at. You did, however, and you got to watch it with Mr. Albo. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Albo Ezilaba.
New executive director of No Regrets Men's Conference. So you saw most of the game. How did that? What are your takeaways from the game?
I've completely forgotten about all of it already. It was not a pleasant game to watch. It was not a fun, hotly contested game. It was lethargic, lifeless, not even particularly chippy, not a lot of extracurricular activity.
Thanks, Jonathan Smith.
Like any good Michigan State game, though, did have controversial officiating. In this case, I do think Michigan benefited from some 60-40 calls that they ended up on the 40 side of, but were got, including the big play that was ruled offsides. Anyway, not a game any Michigan nor Michigan State fan is particularly proud of. But we move on, and other interesting things in the week. Have to talk about the termination down in the Bayou. Mr. Brian Kelly is fired, and it's my suspicion, it seems to be in the air, that he didn't have to be, but he took very poorly to the expectations, if not demands, from the higher-ups that he change his staff. He didn't want to do that, so they said, all right, we'll change you. And he said, I'll take my $53 million buyout and sit around, or maybe perhaps get paid even more because of all the openings.
Yeah, he. What I heard was basically he took too much of an executive director of a CEO role instead of a head coaching job, which maybe after however many 30 years of coaching you'd start to be like, okay, I actually know better than this system. I've been doing this for way too long and didn't need to get into the nitty gritty of recruiting and whatever. He takes Joe Sloan out of the LSU gig with him.
But it wasn't. I mean, we had that on.
I don't think they were correlated, but. Sloan is also fired.
We had that on the left screen, the left monitor on Saturday night. I think it was 18-12 LSU at the break,
and then it was 49 to 18.
It was 49 to 18. So, just a tremendous coaching job this year by Mike Elko. They may be the best team in the country. I think they may at this point have the best resume of any team in the country, and. In Indiana and Ohio State can cast no aspersions. Any of the three could be your national champ, but I'm really impressed with what A&M has done on the season. Texas survives again. I don't even know if they survived. They died, and then the paddles were put on them. Down 17 in the closing moments against Mississippi State. They managed to rip off 17 in a row, take it to OT.
Without Arch,
and did win by 7. Alabama scared,
almost lost too. Yeah,
scared, but in the end they got a key turnover when South Carolina had a chance to drive the field for a game-winning field goal. Alabama turns it around. Jeremy Bernard on the end around, having a great season, and so not much has really shaken up in the rankings this week. But I know, an interesting week nonetheless, and now we look ahead at week 10, where probably a slightly better schedule. Maybe not, we were talking about this before we started recording, that these aren't great teams, but they're great brands matched up.
Yeah.
It's not the elite talent or the caliber of seasons for Florida, for Penn State, but you at least have those names coming together.
Yeah.
And a really intriguing matchup down in Austin where Steve Sarkisian may or may not be auditioning for roles in the NFL.
Yeah, let's start there. Texas is hosting Vanderbilt this week at 11 o'clock kickoff down there in Austin at DKR. Texas is favored by 2.5, and they will be hosting the Vanderbilt Commodores, probably the season's biggest story this year. Diego Pavia and Clarkley getting it done. They got it done last week in kind of a Big Ten-esque game, winning 17-10, 3-3.5. Just one of those slugfest games where the grittier team wins out.
It is crazy that we have Vandy and Georgia Tech and Indiana as top 10 teams.
All playoff teams.
And you have Clemson, Penn State, Florida State,
Texas.
nowhere to be found. Parity, baby.
Parity is crazy, yeah. The last 2 years have really, scales have even for those kind of teams to make their way up, and Vandy has made their way up.
And I would, by the way, this is sweep aside, I don't even think it's NIL. Penn State and Texas have enormous NIL. Vanderbilt does not have NIL.
I think it's just buy-in straight up. I mean, you look at the buy-in at Indiana, and Kurt has got his troops rallied. You look at the buy-in at Vandy, and they're finally doing something. They're the best team in school's history, arguably, and they finally feel like they belong to something. Georgia Tech, these are kind of things that they will ride to the end of the season, even though, players can get injured and whatever, but team culture, as we've seen in at least the last two championship teams, Michigan and Ohio State, team culture eventually wins out.
Jack Sawyer culture.
It's hard to gauge. It's kind of hard. It's like not a thing you can really gauge, but it's a thing that you sense that is there, the continuity within the team, and just the cohesion when they mesh together and they can put it all together that gets them through the tough moments of the season and can propel them to a national championship run.
All right, I got to pick first.
Yes, you do. You went 3-2, and I went 2-3 this past week. So kind of, doing our thing. Not much.
I'm taking Texas. I feel like maybe a little bit of devaluation of Texas and overvaluation of Vandy. Vandy's on the road. I think Bama hosting Vandy gives us a little bit of a preview of what happens when a great team does, like Vandy, does go on the road in conference. It can still be hard. So I'm going to take Texas to cover 2.5. I think Texas wins by 5 to 6 points.
You're going to hook 'em.
Wow.
I'm in the same boat as you. We have yet to see Vandy look really great on the road. They're just one of those teams where it's like...
They actually didn't even look really that great at home last week. They did beat Missouri, but Missouri's down Bo Prabula. Sure. And it really came down to the very end.
Yeah, I don't know.
17-10?
I just think this is the kind of game where you look up and it's 23-7 Texas, and you're like, oh my goodness, how did they get here? Did Vanderbilt just make some mistakes or something here and there? I just think this is going to end up being a good one for Texas. I don't know the status of Arch, whether or not he's going to be back this week. He, obviously, as we previously mentioned, went out before overtime against Mississippi State.
But some switch did get flipped with Texas in the last 3 minutes of that game, and I'm just going to bank on that carry.
Whether or not that carries over,
Texas.
we take Texas. We can keep it in the SEC for the world's largest cocktail party. I don't know if we're still allowed to say that, but it is what it is. Where the tailgating is crazy down in Jacksonville, and they are all there to watch the matchup between the Georgia Bulldogs and the Florida Gators. Georgia 5th ranked in the country. Also one of the teams that is looking like they could be one of the top 4 best teams in the country. They have a case to make with any of them. Georgia is favored by 7 in this game against Florida. Florida, again, has a really disappointing season, but the bettors, as in the same way they really disliked LSU, must really like the way Florida is playing and their ability to, keep games close. Because if you look at it on paper, just straight up, Georgia versus Florida, even though it's a rivalry game, you'd think that Georgia blows them out of the water looking at records and everything. But Florida, the friends down in Vegas really think that this could be a tight game in Jacksonville and Everbank Stadium. So I got to pick this one. Georgia -7 even. I think this is a good line. Give me Florida. I think this is a kind of game where DJ Lagway is able to put it together. Just kind of one of those games where you're reminded that he is one of the best, redshirt freshman, true sophomores, one of the best young talents in the country. I think Billy Napier puts together a good game plan. In the end, Georgia wins out. They always seem to win out these kinds of things, 31-28. when it comes down to it, just because they're the better team. But I think Florida puts up a good fight and tries to take home this rivalry matchup.
Well,
So give me the Gators.
you're taking Lagway. I think that the better quarterback's on the other side. And Gunner, don't call me Stetson Bennett, Stockton, who is playing very, very well lately. And Georgia, I love how they got off the mat against Ole Miss. And I think they're a top 6 or 7 team. And I think a touchdown is too little respect for them. Florida, they will get up for this game, but they're not going to get up that much, I don't think. Give me Georgia.
All right, we disagree on that one. The final SEC game we'll be picking this week, just another solid SEC matchup where if you're looking for a game to watch and you're kind of bored, this would be a fun one to put on. We'll pick Oklahoma's game again where they will be heading to Rocky Top. Night game in Neyland Stadium.
Rocky Top, Tennessee.
Where the Tennessee Volunteers are favored by a field goal. This seems like a kind of game.
Shout out to Woodlawn Baptist and all the Volunteer fans.
Shout out to Sandy Joe. This feels like a kind of game where it could either be about 20-17 or 40-37. The brands of these teams, there's the offensive firepower, but as we've talked about, the team is not the brand in this week, and the team this week is a lot more defensive minded, especially Oklahoma. Oklahoma having a tough loss against Ole Miss last week. They played very well. Couldn't get it done though. Kiffin put together a great game plan against Brent Venables' defense, who has been basically unstoppable so far this season. Who do you like in this one? I think could really go either way. I think 3 is a good line.
Yeah. Joey Aguilar has not played great lately, but John Mateer didn't look great either. I'm going to go with the home field. I'm going to go with the checkerboard end zones. I'm going to go with Neyland Stadium and all those boats sailing up. Give me the Vols.
Yeah, I think you kind of mentioned Joey Aguilar. I think it's also a schematic thing, kind of the matchup between Brent Venables versus Josh Heupel. If you're looking and you're really into the X's and O's, it's something that you really love to watch. But I think when it comes down to it, it's about the players. And I think that...
who's better at offense, Josh Heupel or Lane Kiffin? I mean, I'm not leading anywhere. I'm just saying, if you give them the same guys, who would you want scheming something up in a mirror mode game?
It might depend on the personnel.
No, but if they had the exact same personnel, let's just say they have. Saying. Let's say they have.
It depends on the personnel.
Let's say that they have.
Pick a team.
Let's say that they have Kentucky's offense.
Kentucky's
Who gets
offense,
more out of them?
I would like Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, I think I like Kiffin too.
It's part of that's like, okay, we've seen what happens when you're trying to bring air raid to Wisconsin, and it's just it's not a thing that you can just implant at a new place that easily.
Or bring it to Columbus in a playoff game last year. Didn't work.
Or in a regular season game last year. In this one, I think I like Oklahoma. I just think when it comes down to it,
just add spice to our
players
podcast.
Are better, especially on the defensive line. And like we mentioned, Lane Kiffin is probably a better play caller right now than Josh Heupel is. I think this could be a frustrating game. I think Aguilar definitely could get sacked about 4 times in this game just because the Oklahoma defensive front is a menace. Give me the Sooners to get an upset victory on the road.
I do. I think you're right. It'd be a fun game to keep your eye on because of the contrast in styles. Specifically, though, when Tennessee has the ball.
Yeah.
That'd be more interesting to watch than when Oklahoma has the ball.
You bet. All right, we'll end with 2 Big Ten games. This is kind of what we were referring to earlier, the brands versus the teams. This week, Fox Big Noon is heading to Columbus, where Ohio State will be hosting Penn State. If this was any other year, this would be a top-tier matchup. But it is not any other year, and Penn State has just combusted and fallen apart. The whole program has just not looked like it has been in the past. And Ohio State has looked like they have been in the past, just a dominant force. And they're favored by 20.5 at home. This is another kind of game where it's like you got to pick a number that Penn State has to get to in terms of offensive points to be because offensively, Ohio State could probably pick their number. It depends on if Penn State can break through Ohio State's. I think they're allowing maybe 6 points a game, maybe not even that. Defensively, Ohio State is. So it's kind of like Penn State's offense keep up enough to cover 20.5. Who do you? I got to pick the first in this one. And give me Penn State. I think that unlike other years, this is kind of a game where it's like Ohio State realizes, okay, we're better than Penn State. We kind of own Penn State. They'll get the job done. This definitely could be about a 31-14 kind of a game, 34-17 kind of a game where Penn State is a better offensive team than the teams, most of the teams Ohio State just played. I just think it'll be kind of a slugfest in Columbus at high noon. So give me Penn State to cover 20.5.
Last week, Oregon hosts Wisconsin. What was the line? 34.5. Something like that. Right. Oh, 34.5. Wisconsin starter quarterback is out. Oregon is firing on all cylinders. They have to go into Autzen, a very difficult place to play. And what happened?
It was pretty evenly contested.
Yeah.
21-7.
21-7. James Franklin's not there. Drew Aller's not there. But this is Penn State's game that they have circled on the calendar all year long. Give me the Buckeyes to win. 34-3 Ohio State.
Ah! No! Oh, man.
Buckeyes just completely clamp them down. No. 34-3 Ohio State.
All right, Michigan fandom not coming out of you with that one. Let's pick the Michigan.
Michigan fans don't like either team. This is.
I would much rather
the
have
Ohio State Penn State game is known to people in Ann Arbor as the Meteor Bowl. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, we're Ohio State, Michigan State, but yeah,
that's the total.
I would just. That is true. Michigan hosts Purdue. Similar line. Michigan is favored by 21 even. This is a night game. I'm sick of Michigan night games. I think we all are as Michigan fans. Just play some good 11 o'clock games, get the French toast going, get the sausages on the grill, and just enjoy college football mornings for what they are. But no, we have to play this game at night for some reason. It kind of drives me crazy. Nonetheless, we will watch it. Purdue kind of selling their game last week against Rutgers. Had the lead for most of the game and blew it on a game-winning field goal by the Scarlet Knights. They head to the Big House to play Michigan. As we mentioned, had a fairly just a fine win last week against a rival, no less. But can't write too much home about it, especially the fact that our best player in that game, Jimmy Roller, is now out.
We don't know.
However long a time.
Yeah, that's what Troy Bowles said this week.
Yeah, over/under is about 49.5, so 35-14 is the projected game final.
I like the number. I would hit the over on that. I'm gonna take Michigan just barely. Michigan 42, Purdue 20.
I think I'm just gonna take Purdue. I think we talked about on the car ride here. It's just the amount of injuries and the kind of where it's like we just got to get through Purdue, and then get through to the bye week, and then let's start ramping up production, playing Northwestern Maryland, and then end of the year, 11-29 against Ohio State. I think it's just a game where Michigan kind of doesn't get out of bed, ready to go too much. Maybe Purdue puts up 10 early points, and the final ends up being Michigan 31, Purdue 17. Because Purdue has looked better last year than in recent years. They haven't been winning the games, but they have looked more competitive in the games, and I think that's going to continue. So give me Purdue to cover.
So your case is because Purdue was better last year
Than last year.
Oh, then they're better this year.
They're better this year than last year.
Okay, I heard
more
that the other way.
competitive.
Well, so we disagree on everything but the first one. We agreed on the Vanderbilt not covering 2.5 against Texas. But other than that, there's a chance for you to gain some ground on me.
Hopefully.
So we head into
far. I think I'm 11 games under 500. I'm far behind.
But no trash cans coming out this week, thankfully.
Yeah, broke that streak.
So anything else we're looking for this weekend?
I mean, we probably should mention that we're not going to be recording for the next 2 weeks because we will be on the other side of the earth for 10 days, 11 days. So
we'll be traveling. So it's good for it comes down to Michigan bye week. Who knows? We may get something thrown together without a lot of graphics for
with our cousin, perhaps my cousin, your brother.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
All right, but onward we go. We're in double digits as far as the week number, week 10.
High school playoffs are starting to go underway, so we're starting to hit not quite bowl season, but if you look around over the horizon, you can see glimpses of playoff and postseason football.
And I love high school football. I love getting behind my team. Let's go IMG. Till next time, I'm the Preacher.
I'm the Prodigy. Deuces.